costs. But MBF covers these public hospital fees and helps so much with private hospital charges too.
I'm staying with MBF because MBF covers what Medicare won't.
MBF helps in so many ways with health insurance, general insurance, personal loans, investment services. MBF, we're with you.
That's not very shattering. I'll give you a shattering. Violet crumble, a chocolate-coated real honeycomb bar that shatters in a most unusual way. Now that is shattering.
It's the way it shatters that matters.
You gotta work it hard to be a solo man. You're gonna take the lead and make the others follow. You're gonna keep in shape to be a solo man. And when you got a thirst for it, you've gotta crack a solo.
Extra tangy lemon solo. It's light on fizz for when you're long on thirst.
And when you got a thirst for it, you've gotta crack a solo.
Crack a solo. Be a solo man.
Sun-white Calrose is just the thing for desserts and savoury rice balls. Oh, sorry, long grain.
Oh, typical of you lot, always clinging together.
Not necessarily. It depends on how we're treated.
Sure.
Well, when it comes to fried rice, we all go our separate ways.
I didn't know you could do that.
Anyway, whoops, can't hang around talking to you all day. We've got a dinner to go to.
Sun-white Calrose, the only rice that clings and separates.
There's another 4 weeks of 3 and Easy Match Bingo with over 100,000 to be won. So get your new card in tomorrow's Sun Herald and start living on Easy Street.
Sugar. It's as natural as...
Hello, sunshine, nature shining through the sugar cane, bringing that great taste back again. Hello, sunshine.
Hello, sunshine.
A natural warmth shining through. Sugar's energy from the sun to you. Hello, sunshine. Hello, sunshine. Hello, sunshine. You're a natural part of life. Hello, sunshine. Hello, sunshine. Hello, sunshine. You're a natural part of life.
Sugar. It's as natural as sunshine.
Hello, sunshine.
Good morning and welcome to ABC Television via OSAT Domestic Satellite on this Wednesday the 16th of December 1987. In a few moments it's Cartoon Carnival.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I welcome you again to this Pokemon stream that still has no title, but we have very special guest and I guess technically enemy of the show, Aaron, who I will introduce just now. Hello. Hello?
Hello.
Hello. So, let's just jump straight in.
Yep.
Come on. Sure, do it twice. Right, that's doing that. It just... How's the volume on your end?
It's fine. I can adjust it. Remember, it's Discord.
That'll do it.
As long as it's not coming through and creating double audio for you.
As far as I can tell.
Cool.
List. Why aren't you working? There we go. Accept. There we go. I like using the old sprites because we're back in the past.
Ah. That's why everything looks like it doesn't have color and doesn't have detail.
Well, this is before color was invented.
Yes, I'm aware.
Whoop, and then it does
they
that.
added color.
Yeah, eventually.
Once it was invented.
Yeah. So we are in Vermilion City, which is the third big gym city of Pokemon Blue. And I'm not sure exactly how much you can see, but we do have our team on the left. But otherwise...
I can see your screen.
Just the Game Boy screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just because I've got like a whole stream overlay add-on thing.
Yeah, I can see that looking at your stream, but you're just sharing gameplay capture.
Yeah. Yeah, look
oh god, the old...
Yeah. I think this was like every species that like you could have. Like these are all the sprites.
That sounds about right. I feel like there was one more, but...
Oh yeah,
totally wrong about that.
For Voltorb.
Yes, that is what I was thinking of.
But just because I'm not confident at all in Team Comp at the moment, we're just doing a bit of grinding.
Makes sense. Oh, I forgot how good Sandshrew used to... Sandshrew looks really cute. I like the newer Sandshrew designs, but I do kind of miss the little, ball-y eyes.
Whoop. It does that every now and then. It's the dangers of old tech on new tech.
You mean the slowdown?
Yeah, it sort of just randomly freezes every now and then.
It occurs to me I've never played this game unemulated, because I'm not, someone who owned these consoles, so whatever you are perceiving just codes to me as normal.
Yeah, I think I still have, I know I actually do, I still have all my original cards. Because it's at some point, why would you throw anything away?
Yeah, no, especially not stuff like this.
Even if the label completely has been torn off of Pokemon Blue and the one for Pokemon Red has been defaced because, drawing a face on the Charizard was funny.
Fair.
But then by the time Yellow came around, it's just like, okay, no, I know that I probably shouldn't do anything to this one. But no, speaking of, we mentioned, like, off air, basically, that I don't think these games would get played much anymore outside of people doing, like, competition runs.
I mean, I think that there is an appetite for Red and Blue and Yellow that is evidenced by the fact that they're ported. They're, like, if you go on web-based emulation sites, Pokemon is near the top. Like, Mother and Pokemon are the things that are right at the top. So I would actually expect that it happens more than you'd think, and there's such a culture. Absolutely, I think there are a lot of things that are challenge runs and competitive runs, but there's such a culture of running things in different ways. Like, you've got single Pokemon runs, you've got stuff like Professor Oak's Challenge on the sort of more technical end. Obviously, on the more narrative or emotional end, you've got stuff like Nuzlocke. And yeah, I think like any game that's been around a while, you certainly get people, oh, I'm gonna play it in this unique way, or with this mod, or with this self-imposed restriction, or, you know, speedrun, stuff like that. But I would expect that they're still fairly culturally, obviously within Pokemon as a fandom, fairly culturally present, or not just Pokemon as a fandom, but like retro gaming as a fandom.
So I'm just trying to think, and like, I think Black and White is the next generation to be re-released, because everything else has gotten at least one.
Yeah, if we're going by the calendar, we would expect a Black and like, in fairness, there's sort of two kinds of re-release. There's the Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, or like your Pearl,
Platinum.
Your Platinum to your Diamond and Pearl. And then there's the, like, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, sort of Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, true remake. And yeah, I think that if we're gonna continue seeing those, the next one we'd see remade would be Black and White.
And I mean, like, looking at just the, like, some of the mechanical changes that have been ported over, and, like, the technical changes and this, that, and the other, I legitimately think that the only people who are playing older games is that they're doing it as a challenge.
I mean, that's possible. I can understand where that thought comes from. I would be surprised if that was borne out in the statistical evidence, but absolutely, like, no one's or let me rephrase that, because this is the Pokemon fandom. The number of people who have modded their Switch to play Pokemon, the original, like, this sort of emulated Pokemon Blue or Pokemon Red, is very few. And absolutely, like any game that's been around a while, most people are not playing it for the first time unless they're specifically trying to play through something like the entire series.
Yeah.
And I would say that, like, there's challenge runs and there's that, but there's also just the, like, what do you do when you've played a game several times to make it novel for yourself?
Yeah. And sometimes the answer ends up being go and buy the new version.
Yeah, go and buy the new version. But it can also be things as simple as making intentional choices to not have the same team that you tend to default to. Which absolutely might fall into the category of, oh, that person's playing it as a challenge run. Because they're not grabbing Eradicate or whatever.
So, funny you should mention that. Because I do have a Rattata in the PC that I had intended to use because that is one that I've used before. I'm just like, I'm not really feeling it this time around.
See? I think that if we take that to be sort of the bar of what challenge runs or intentional novelty, I don't think novelty is a word, is, I think you're absolutely right, but, like, I think that, actually, you know what would be a good way of saying this? The prevalence of mini consoles is itself a self-evidentiary argument for the pressure of the retro game community to simply have access to retro games.
That isn't, like, prohibitively expensive for the sake of commodity.
That like mini consoles exist because there is an appetite to simply play these games in ways that feel authentic or ideally support the companies that hold the property and can continue to use that property.
And
yeah.
Well, like I was also saying, it's there really isn't specifically a game that is designed for people like me who have grown up with the entire series and have played basically every game.
I don't know. I think that, like, it depends on exactly how recently you are talking about as current games, because I would argue that Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire was very specifically designed. You're never going to get a new entry into the series that is not beginner or is not new user friendly. I think that that's simply not something that's going to happen with nearly. Actually, I can say where that happens. That doesn't happen outside of fighting games. Fighting games do not care a lick for the fact that you have no idea what their controls are. They're there for the people who are already familiar with that specific fighting game. Be that Smash Bros, or be that Street Fighter, or be that, what was the one I was trying yesterday? Mortal Kombat. Like, fighting games will forego conventional tutorializing. But I think within the RPG genre, and especially with Pokemon, you're never gonna get a game that is like, you already know all of this, let's get into the meat.
Yeah, I mean...
That's not going to be a game with a wide enough appeal to sell. But at the same time, games like Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, where you get specific achievements for trading a Pokemon all the way from the original versions of Ruby up into Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, or I may have switched those around again. Like, those are the style of games where I think that there absolutely is an attention to the long-term fan base, and there's one of the things that was so appealing to me about Pokemon getting into it was, until recently, and I feel like that's a rant for another time, this dedication to you can get every Pokemon from every installment into your copy of Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. So if you've been around forever, everyone's got a favorite Pokemon. Most people's favorite Pokemon is some random Pokemon that no one else really likes. I love Cryogonal and Klefki.
Apparently Charizard tops the charts, which I personally don't like.
Yeah, but like, there's hundreds per installment, depending on how you count, of Pokemon. New Pokemon for each generation. But they all continue to be accessible. And I think that that's actually a great argument for, like, for the fact that the long-term version of the fan base is attended to, well, absolutely not to an exclusionary extent. Though there's also, like, you've played through Sun and Moon through the end of the post-game?
Yep.
Red and Blue still show up at the end of Sun and Moon's post-game, which is not there for people who know Ash Ketchum from the anime. It's not there for casual fans where this is the first entry in the franchise they've picked up, though I don't think that it's such a reference that they would feel excluded by it.
Yeah, it's not going to blindside them.
Yeah, it's not like you're throwing things at me that I very much don't understand just to sort of gatekeep this. But, like, I would say that absolutely the later Pokemon games, especially the late DS era, are designed with the fact that there's a generation of people who grew up with these games and are now adults with their own disposable income and inclination to support these games very much in mind, and very much, like, as a central target demographic. Not for every game, absolutely, but, like, I think that the main series games have attention to that, or had attention to that. And then, like, there's the fact that the formula hasn't changed that much. Like, you have still very similar turn-based combat. You still have largely intact move sets and level up sets, barring where certain Pokemon needed sort of an overhaul. Spearow can still use Fury Attack. And Spearow is still Spearow, and Pidgey still looks broadly like Pidgey. Like, that isn't there for someone who's new to a series. That's there for you as the long-term fan.
Yeah. I think what I'm thinking of is not something where it gets rid of all the tutorials or just outright downplays them, but it gives you at least the, like, it has respect for like people who have experience. It's like we understand that you might already know this. Would you like to ignore it?
Yeah, I can see how the ability to skip tutorials can feel like appreciated if you've played a game many times or if you've played many games in a genre. I'm not sure that it's the right move for Pokemon, but I can understand where that's like a sticking point for some fans of long-running series. I tend to err on the other side of, just because I've played 20 games that are exactly like this doesn't mean I know what's happening this time around. And also, that introduction should not just be a mechanical introduction. It should also introduce me to this region, this world, the culture of the game, of this version of the game. And maybe this is something we'll see more as we get into later generations, but like, I would say that like the contrast between Silver mugging you in Gen 2 and the sort of group dynamic of X and Y are as important as teaching you how to couch a Pokemon in setting up those games tutorial.
Yeah. And then, like, from the narrative perspective as well, it's... I would like to not be the big hero all the time. Like, maybe I do want to join Team Rocket.
I mean, everyone wants to join Team Rocket. That's not a... But, yeah, like... I don't know... I'm surprised that you sort of pushing for this sort of... I've already been here, I know what I'm doing, I know what's going on, sort of traditionalist, classicist perspective would want narrative choice to be added to Pokemon.
Just because it's something different.
Okay. So, do you want something different, or do you want it to be loyal to what it already is?
That's the thing. I technically, like, I think I just want both.
Okay. The game designer is crying.
Yeah.
But I get it. Like, and I would say that... Okay, here's my other answer. The Pokemon series does have that variety. It's just not the main series games. Now, there is variety in the main series games, absolutely. Like, Red is not the same protagonist as Gloria. And yes, I picked Red and Gloria because they were the names I remembered. Like, and every generation has very different themes and narratives and sort of aesthetic. There's a reason why each region is sort of very unique. There's a reason why each region is based off a different place. We go to America and have some politics.
Go to France and have the cake.
Go to France and get dressed up very fancy and have a fame stat. Yeah, like, and I would argue that is different. But at the same time, if you want to join, well, you can't join Team Rocket, but you can join Team Galactic in a time travel story. You can go steal Pokemon in Pokemon Coliseum.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, like, your standard game, it's like pretty much any game in the series. If you do just the, quote, story battles, you are on an unbeaten streak until you finish the game.
I don't know if that's always true. That's certainly something that has been a shift in gaming culture, especially in RPG culture. But the thing is, you don't have to... So in the game you're playing right now, you can lose to your rival, and the story will progress.
Once.
And your rival's team will change based on that.
The only forced encounter that you can lose and still have the story progress is the very first battle in the lab. Other than that, it's just like, oh, you blacked out, you wake up at the Pokemon Center, oh, it's still there, story, script resumes as normal.
And absolutely, that is definitely a question of RPGs, is do you create space for loss, or are you on an unbeaten streak? And I wonder to some extent, do you want to be forced to lose? Because experiencing the challenge of having to try something multiple times is entirely a question of whether or not you had to try it multiple times.
Yeah. I would like the option of a story that has the possibility to branch based off loss.
Again, the game designer's crying, but I think I can explain why a little more. The scope of content that needs to be created for loss and victory to fundamentally change the story magnifies the amount of game you need to create in an exponential fashion.
Yeah, absolutely.
And additionally, it can be very frustrating for... I hear what you're saying, oh, as a veteran player, I want to be able to try something different. I want, losing to matter. And I would argue that generally there is some spaces where losing matters, but I would also argue that for someone who's, oh, I came into that fight a little under-leveled, or, oh, I was being dumb and it was late and I forgot that fire is strong against grass and lost that fight, it can be really frustrating and really disheartening to be like, oh, well, you lost. Moving on. You suck. You fail. It is very rare for games to force you into that, where losing sticks you with something. Usually that's the point, is that you can try again. Somewhat for scope reasons, but also just it tends to be more satisfying. But
because I'm thinking also as a D&D player, if the DM has a story in mind, all of a sudden the door that you went down is the right path. It doesn't matter if you were right or wrong, you were always right. So
I mean, yeah, the DM can react to you in real time. So yeah.
But that's why I'm thinking the branching story doesn't need to be excessive. You'd still have even if it's just a little side path before you're back onto the quote intended path. It's just that is an option of how the story went.
Yeah, I suppose I would argue that is what side quests are in these games. And also that, the narrative structure of gyms specifically allows for the idea that you might lose. I would say that your winning streak is an experience that is a result of your skill as a player more than it is the result of, like, some fundamental underlying aspect of the story. You can lose in most generations. It is very easy to lose in the Elite Four multiple times, even if you come up victory road reasonably prepared. If your team is not well suited to the champions team, or, you know, Garchomp, but, like, even in this, like, you can lose to, you can lose to your rival, Gary Blue, very easily.
Yeah, which the game doesn't acknowledge.
The game does, like, so, are you specifically saying that the script doesn't change each time you lose, like in a Hades fashion?
No, I mean, the game, like the script, basically acts as if the losses never happened.
Okay,
in a sense.
So you're saying that the encounter doesn't change its dialogue, but the structure of the story is such that, oh, if you lose at the gyms, if you lose at the Elite Four, you're allowed to try again. You're allowed to keep trying. Like, that is the underlying narrative under which you are competing. Like,
Yeah.
that is the structure of the competition, is that if you lose to someone, you give them some money, pass out, and wake up back at the nearest emergency center. Like,
Yeah.
there are absolutely instances and moments where, oh, you didn't stop the apocalypse, let's rewind time a bit and completely ignore that you didn't stop the apocalypse. And those can feel very hollow. But I would say that the Pokemon has almost gone out of its way to address your narrative complaint with the very structure of the competition. And, like, I think that in general, the Pokemon experience for a casual player involves losses.
And then when you look at the sort of the way the narrative pans out, so like the supercut montage basically is just, here is all your victories to get through the story. What I'm thinking, like what I'm saying is, like, the narrative can allow for not being undefeated in terms, like, to progress the story, but still progress the story.
I would say that is the case. The narrative specifically is structured so that whether you beat... Who's the upcoming gym leader?
Lieutenant Surge.
Okay. Oh, Lieutenant Surge. So whether it takes you first try or 30th try to get through stupid trash can puzzle, and whether you win against Lieutenant Surge on your first try, which he's a great example. He's one of the gym leaders that's sort of notorious for being a bit of a difficulty spike that many people will lose to. Like, you can try again. That is the structure of the competition under which you are competing. I don't think that in general the narrative anticipates that you are undefeated. I think that is certainly a complaint that can be leveled against Sword and Shield's alterations to the formula. But I would say that in most of the generations, that simply is true. And yeah, I agree that there's some appetite for higher consequence gameplay. which is, I think, why Nuzlocks are so popular. But, like, the fact that you eventually succeeded and needed to succeed to move on does not invalidate whether or not you failed at some point.
Narratively, I feel it does, but mechanically, obviously, it you can go try again and level up and come back.
So let's use a real-world example. I failed my driving test about 8 times before I got my driver's license.
Yeah.
I didn't get the license until I succeeded, but the effort of going through that test multiple times is still part of the experience of the game. And obviously, many people succeed their license test first try. And I don't think that it is necessarily more rewarding for the average player. I understand that you want a very different experience, and I think that it's just almost impossible to customize where you succeed. Oh geez, what's the right word? I think it's almost impossible to customize an experience that is tuned to that, like, to the kind of loss that you want to experience in games, because someone else is just gonna find it really frustrating and really insulting. Like, I could have done that. That poison got off a lame shot, or I was just a little underleveled, and now my entire run is ruined because I'm being set down this path because I didn't beat this guy I didn't know the details of on my first try. I might as well reset. I might as well grind until I'm over-leveled because I don't want to deal with just this arbitrary, oh, well, you lost the fight. Guess you're on the loser route now. Like, I think that I understand, oh, I want something different out of these games. Which I think is just, you've played them a lot, that's fair. But at the same time, I think that the thing you're asking for is sort of impossible to manifest within the structure, and is, as much as it can be, already present. Like, this is not a case where the narrative is always running back time and ignoring that you went through a fight. No, you lost, and you lost a lot of your money, which, once you're experienced with the game, can feel kind of arbitrary, but, like, your first few times through, that can hurt. Losing half your cash is not an insignificant loss penalty. But it doesn't mean that you can't go back and try again. With a different team, with better levels, just hoping for better RNG. And also, it's, Pokemon, especially the first few generations, are a little notorious for soft blocking. And, like, that would make it so much easier to soft block. Just because it creates so many more edge cases.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, this isn't the wonderfully best coded game that's ever been made. But, yeah, see, I'm also very bad with words that I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to think of.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
there's definitely a concept in my head that I don't know how to get out.
No, I think I do get, like, what you'd want to see. I'm just responding sort of from a perspective of potentially a more casual fan who's just like, yeah, that might be an interesting game, but that's not a very fun Pokemon game writ large. And like, that's what mods are for, is that more niche experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my issue with Pokemon, like, modding or fan gaming is that it is aimed at more the super expert. Like, it is for the player who is hyper competitive or, you know, it is just much to the extreme.
We have very different images of the Pokemon mod scene, but that's fair.
Well, it's either that or it's things like Pokemon Uranium, where it's like trying to be too edgy.
Yeah, I think of things like Pokemon Uranium. I also think of like updatey type stuff and like, oh, what if you could attack the gyms in any order? Or stuff like that is sort of the core of Pokemon modding.
Which apparently they're now doing in the official game.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that Violet and will have some of that additional customizability just because the more open-endedness of area exploration in Sword and Shield was so well received.
Quick side note to point out how flat Red's head's gonna get in a second.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Just
Put on
crunch.
that bicycle helmet. It's definitely not crushing your skull and very dangerous. I forgot how bad bikes were. Oh my god, this feels so slow.
I mean, this is double the walking speed, to be fair.
No, it is absolutely much better than the walking speed. It's just still pretty,
bad.
Yeah. Like, did I tell you? I probably haven't told you this. I may have. I like this anecdote. When I initially played through Pokemon games, like, I sort of started playing in the DS era, so I was initially playing Pearl when I was initially playing, X or Y, I don't remember which. I, like, knew that the bikes existed. Knew that there were these roller skates I could use to go faster. But just didn't think it was worth it. And, like, in retrospect, I realized, oh my god, it took me forever to get anywhere. Like, because I didn't even use the run button. Because you have to hold down the run button.
I think they've made it a toggle now. Because accessibility in games is important. I do want to point out that we just picked up a Great Ball in this bin. This had, like, ruined generations of gamers, because that one item meant everyone is now checking every single garbage bin in Pokemon forever. Like, I don't know.
That's not the only time there's been an item in a trash can in Pokemon.
I honestly can't think of any more in this game. Like,
Oh no, I think that you are right, that there are very few, if any, other trash bin located items in Pokemon. Though, like, Surge's entire puzzle is about searching through trash bins.
Yeah. But it's like just getting a tiny reward is enough to overload the dopamine switch.
I mean, that's fair, but I also, like, that there is anything in them is irrelevant to me. It's interactable and it has flavor text. That flavor text is getting interacted with.
Yeah. This is
flavor
also...
text says, this trash can is empty. This trash can is empty. This trash can is empty. But they're all getting read.
I mean, it is fairly basic for, like, flavored text, though. Because it's like, oh, it's a TV. Whereas...
It's a thing with Pokemon memorabilia. Okay, this is an entirely different thing about the Pokemon series than your thing. But, like, the fact that everyone in this world is obsessed with Pokemon, yet Pokemon are supposed to be entirely normal...
Yeah.
...is, like, structurally very weird to me.
Yeah, it's because you only encounter the crazies, I guess.
Yeah, but, like, I can go into literally anyone's house, and everyone has Pokemon-related stuff on their shelf. Like, okay, like, from my perspective, I get that these are fantastical, magical animals that do basically everything and are, like, fundamental to the structure of the world. But, like, imagine if fish were kind of cool, or, like, culturally significant, and every person's house you ever went to, the only thing on their shelf was information about fish. Like, that is the only thing people publish books on. That is the only thing people make merchandise of.
Yeah.
Like, that is a little weird.
And that sort of ties back into, like, my thoughts on the whole gaming thing. It's like, I would like to see a slice of life type game. Just let me live in this world. Like, you've built it up...
That exists! You can play that! They have made that!
But it's just like, it's built up that, like, as you said, everyone... It's just part of the world, it's everyday life. Everyone has Pokemon, and Pokemon are everywhere. Why is it that, like, you are the unique person who gets the one-of-a-kind rare Pokemon starter? It's,
in
like...
yellow?
In yellow, you get the rejects. It's like, oh, well, everyone else has left, and I've got this sort of trash rat here.
Yeah. No, like, I'm not sure what you mean by one-of-a-kind Pokemon starter. Like, with the exception of yellow.
I know for a fact in red and blue, at least, you can encounter just generic trainers who have the starters, even if they built up as kind of more rare. But I don't think outside of your rival...
That is the feature of most of the games, is that you will encounter... While they tend to be more memorable trainers because, like, they've got a better designed Pokemon, and honestly, I'm not going to remember everyone with the generic rat of the generation. Like, yeah, typically you can encounter people with the starters, and I think that the implication in most generations, with the possible exception of gold and silver... Yeah, with the exception of gold and silver, is that the Pokemon that you get to start out with are specifically Pokemon that are designed to be beginner friendly. These are the Pokemon that are always given at the start of journeys because they're good, effectively tutorial Pokemon for the characters. And they're the sort of Pokemon that are safe for a trainer who's just starting out.
Yeah.
Like, there's certainly examples of you you or a rival getting a unique Pokemon to start out with. Obviously, in Yellow, you get a Pikachu because Pikachu is the mascot of the series.
Fortunately.
Let's go. Pikachu and Eevee definitely break this mold a lot more. Because they truly are somewhat unique. But, yeah, in most generations, you can encounter others with the starters. It's just that from a trading / meta perspective, you can't really catch them wild. Or they're pretty rare to catch wild, or have to be caught in specific, weird zones. Because they're the Pokemon that are bred as introductory Pokemon. That is part of the narrative.
And see, that's where I might raise a little bit of an argument. I honestly don't know if after Red and Blue, you see anyone else with the starters, as just a normal trainer.
Yeah, you do. Obviously, your rivals are always there.
Yeah.
But occasionally you'll encounter them. The most obvious instance is in one of the recurring field battles in Sword and Shield, we'll always have a set of the 3 starters in some form of evolution, depending on which region she shows up in.
Oh yeah, the
Pokemon
breeder.
breeders.
Yeah.
Pokemon breeders in general, I think, tend to have the starters. And yeah, you're not likely to encounter a random hiker who happens to have a Growlithe is not a starter.
Groudon?
Groudon's not a starter!
No, I mean, I didn't know where you were going with it, so...
I was thinking Growlithe, because I was trying to remember what the Fire Cat starter was, and I was like, Fire Tiger! Never mind. You're not gonna necessarily encounter a Wartortle, all over the place with generic Pokemon, though I don't think they're entirely unpresent. But they are out there in the world, and the structural implication is that these are the starter Pokemon. That's how people talk about them, is, oh, you're starting out on your journey. You're gonna get one of these Pokemon that are region-specific and these 3 types, and always are 3-stage evolutions, always are, and obviously part of that is the formula of the game, but it's explained in universe as this is sort of the tradition, is that you go to a professor to get your Pokemon, and that professors tend to raise or have or breed these sort of starter-friendly, literally starter Pokemon.
And see, that's an idea I also had with my theoretical game that is apparently very difficult and makes people cry, is that you could have your first encounter with a Pokemon be like the catching tutorial from, you see, in this one, the old man, or just oh, look, I'll show you how to catch this, standing in the way. And it could be a randomly selected, first route Pokemon from a pool.
Yeah, I can understand that, as I think that part of that is simply, the thing about the game as it exists is that, well, first of all, you kind of need, like, that, you're asking for more choice, and then you're taking away the most major choice that exists. So, like, that is a trade-off. Like, well, why am I getting a stupid rat that I don't want? Rather than having the option to choose one of these. But also, like, there is something really valuable, especially in first playthroughs, about the fact that your starter will remain viable until probably, like, the really intense technical end game. And even then, your starter is probably gonna be basically reasonable.
Yeah. And see, that is an issue that I personally have. It's like, that feels like you are elevating the player character too much. Like, well,
But
obviously that's the conceit of the game, yeah.
All of the main characters have access to.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to be exactly a main character in a story sometimes.
So you want to play as an NPC.
Basically.
You are never Okay. Outside of the tutorial battle, you can immediately box your starter. Like that is... So... Some of it is like, if you want to play through the plot of the game, you're going to encounter a plot in which there is conflict. But at the same time, you don't technically need to. Like, this is not true of the very early generations, obviously, but, like, you can just go around and prioritize contests if you want. In the generations that have them, or, like, focus on the Pokédex, and that is narratively supported, is like, okay, what is your Pokemon journey? And obviously for the protagonist, as these faceless but usually somewhat realized characters, they have motivations. And those motivations are usually the Pokemon League involved, and that is the structure of the plot. Like, yeah,
Yeah, say what I mean.
I think that my point is that I understand that you want this RPG. That RPG is not a main series Pokemon game.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that, more broadly speaking, this, like, oh, I want to play as an NPC and have these challenges, but also have more options, but also not get choices and not be able to retry things that I fail at, is, like, I understand that it's very appealing to you, and I agree that it's an interesting game concept. I think it's a great mod concept for Pokemon specifically. I would not say that those are the ubiquitous desires of veteran Pokemon fans who are looking for a game aimed more at them. I think that there are veteran Pokemon fans who would enjoy that. Clearly you would. I think there are veteran Pokemon fans who would more be looking for story references, characters returning, for the character to have more agency and be more relevant to the plot. I think that's, for me as someone who has played all of the games and has played the games a lot, like, when the player character's agency is kind of ignored, that irks me, because I think that that's something that's very compelling about the Pokemon games, is that through trying hard and understanding, anyone in this world has the opportunity to succeed, and you are someone on that journey. Though I think that actually, like, to some extent, wouldn't Sun and Moon address a lot of that? Because in Sun and Moon, you are not important. You are just being dragged along and forced to participate with a blank, staring smile.
A malicious killer's smile, one might say.
Yeah, I go back and forth between the Sun and Moon protagonist, like, wanting to murder everyone and being a immigrant from Kanto who does not speak that much of the local language. Because, like, your character is canonically from Kanto and is living in Hawaii. Alola, but,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
Alola is Hawaii and Kanto is Kanto.
Yeah.
It would be entirely reasonable to assume that, like, even if you know English, it's kind of smile and nod, yeah, sure, I understand what's going on here. Especially you encounter an NPC early on that's like, if you say Alola and do this, you don't have to worry about anything else. Just keep smiling. And, like, I think that there's a decent amount... That's a fan theory. That's clearly fan theory. But, like, I go back and forth between, I am plotting the murder of all of you. Oh, you think whatever her name is, Lululemon, is bad? I can be worse, smile. And it being a smile of, what the fuck is even going on here? Why am I here? But yeah, like, in Sun and Moon, I'd argue that you almost are more that NPC who has ended up dragged along on everyone else's journey.
Yeah. Maybe. I'm not sure. I think I'll have to see how it gets when I get there. But I think you're probably, like, very tuned in already to how broken my brain is.
Yeah, I get it. I just, like, like, my reaction is mostly one of, I would not anticipate that the things that you are looking for are necessarily reflective of broad fandom preferences.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And thus I am hesitant to cast them as what would exist within a Pokemon game built for veteran Pokemon fans.
Yeah. Yeah, all utterly fair. It's just, yeah. I can't help the way I feel. I think we're almost done with the SSN here, at least. Got
Also, I noticed you keep going in and leaving the SSN. That seems to be trying things multiple times. Sorry.
Well, I mean, in the
I'm
remakes...
also very familiar with how my brain works.
Yeah. In the remakes, to be fair, they have someone in one of the very early rooms. It's like, oh, you can rest here.
Yep. I mean...
This is a very sad battle.
I almost never, like... I'm bad at using Pokemon centers. Like, if I don't have enough power points and health to get through an area, I assume that I'm going to be underleveled for whatever's coming up.
Yeah, this is an unfortunate battle if you believe some of the narrative out there.
Oh, yeah. I'm not entirely convinced because there's counter evidence, but that's fun story implications.
I'd be interesting to hear what counter evidence there is.
So, the prevailing counter evidence is that, the IV values for Gary's Raticade change between the early battles and this battle. So it's probably not the same Pokemon.
Do any of his others?
Yeah, to some extent. Like, I think it's notable in that case, though. The other, like, evidence is, like, this is around the time that players generally switch out Pokemon. So it makes sense that Gary would also be ditching, first route Pokemon around this time. But, like, I think it's a very compelling theory. I don't know to what extent, like, I personally am compelled to say that it is canon, so much as I have accepted this into my worldview. That you are currently murdering a Pokemon and it cannot be healed.
Yeah, it's because this is the last time we ever see Gary's Blue's Raticade. The next time we see him is at Lavender Town in the Pokemon Tower,
where he implies that the only reason someone would have to be there is that they have a dead Pokemon and you don't, and he does. Which creates the implication you don't and he does. Yeah.
and that's also where his tone shifts. He gets a little bit less playful. He gets a lot more.
I have always gotten superior dickbag vibes from him the entire way through this game, but that is a reasonable interpretation.
It's just like he's been hit with that loss, and that's like a compelling enough reason for him to focus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously this is all fan theory, like potentially too grimdark.
Very reasonable fan conjecture that sort of goes somewhere between fan theory and like fridge logic.
It's as credible as Mew under the truck.
Slightly more credible than Pika Blue, which I did not play Pokemon as a child, but I was familiar with it from all of my friends who played it, so I did encounter such rumors. Wait, was Pika Blue a thing in Australia?
Yeah.
It might not have been. This might have been a very American thing.
No, it definitely was, because Pokemon craze hit pretty hard.
Yeah. No, I just was like, I'm not exactly sure how such rumors spread in the first place, so like it's one of those things where I could very much see that sort of like kid to kid event rumor spreading about a dumb like about a fake Pokemon potentially being regional, but yeah.
Of course, Pika Blue turning out to be Marill.
Yes. For anyone who is a viewer that may be unfamiliar with this, so after Generation 1, Japan started to get some teasers of Gen 2 Pokemon, and one of the first ones was Marill, who's kind of looks like a blue Pikachu.
If you squint really hard and aren't paying attention.
You know, I will say that Marill looks more like a Pikachu look-alike than some Pokemon look like others in their Pokemon evolution chain.
Well, how do you feel about this Pikachu look-alike?
I miss Fat Pikachu. Like, I like little athletic Pikachu, but I also really like chubby Pikachu.
Also before the voice.
Yeah. That was pretty recently that they started having Pikachu specifically say Pika.
I mean,
right?
it was in yellow. Because they had a whole system about Pikachu's emotions.
Oh, yeah, I guess... For some reason, I remember that as being exclusive to the, like, special Pikachu you get
Which
in
is
yellow.
the only
not,
Pikachu
like,
you can get.
Not like Pikachus you capture in the... For some reason, I have a memory of, like, in later generations when you can capture Pikachu in the wild, it has a more typical Pokemon cry, but I might just be misremembering that.
Plus, we can look at Vomit.
See, I would argue that is the reward you are getting there. You are getting interesting flavor text. You're not necessarily expecting or looking for a Great Ball. You are knowing that there will be text there, and thus you are reading it. Like, if it were me, I would also go over to that bookcase that I'm pretty sure says, look, there's Pokemon stuff on this bookcase.
Yep.
Which is the same thing that every bookcase in the game says, but I will read every single one.
So, unfortunately, we don't have any way of getting off the ship without just leaving. Because I've defeated all the trainers, we don't have teleport or fly or dig.
Yeah.
So we can't go to catch Mew behind that truck.
Oh no.
Because it goes away. And this screen is now going to be blocked off forever. There are ways to catch Mew, but I also blocked them off inadvertently.
Yeah. Well, you know, none of your family works at Nintendo, so...
Yeah, nah, the uncle got laid off. Very sad.
Such a shame. Yeah. Sorry, continuing my Peekaboo explanation real quick. So when there were initial teases for it, somehow, like, fan sites and also, like, sort of the playground rumors identified this, Pokemon Meryl, whose Japanese name is basically also Meryl. Just, you know, with different pronunciation because in Japanese sounds are slightly different, as Peekaboo, and, like, sort of connected it very specifically to Pikachu,
And rumors being the way they are.
Yeah.
Growing.
Yeah. Which is not necessarily very accurate,
Yeah, it's the purple monkey dishwasher theory.
But hey, it stuck around and, like,
That's not fair, that Diglett knows how to dig. Who'd have thought?
the era before Pokemon abilities where every fight was basically the same.
Yep. This is also before they invented names, largely. no other trainers except for, like, the gym leaders and your rival have names.
Yeah, I mean... Is it better to have everyone named and have youngster Joey calling you?
Depends. How often is he going to call me about the Dunsparce infestation?
Like, not super often, but always at the most annoying and inconvenient times. Where it's like, I am in the middle of something, I do not need this text right now.
I mean, it was at the top of the hour.
I am in the middle of this part of the progress of the plot. I mean,
Yeah.
in that context.
But it's something theoretically you could plan around. No talking to plants to automatically try and cut them.
Yep. Like, I would argue this is also a gatekeeping mechanism as much as, like, the, gyms themselves are.
I mean, this is all... Sorry?
It's stuff that's locked behind, like, oh, have you caught this many different kinds of Pokemon? And that's pretty ubiquitous with that throughout the series, is that there'll be some stuff, even if it's just, like, niceties, behind those sorts of barriers.
I can't remember. I do remember that they took away the best ability of cut. Which is just, if you didn't want any random encounters, you just cut the grass.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
You mow the lawn.
Yeah. I am kind of the opinion that, like, that should have ended up as its own separate, like, HM. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I can see that being a little too powerful to also be a thing with cut. But, like, I don't know. Put another thing in the game that's clear cut that does that.
I also don't know if this is an anime reference or the anime used this reference. Because that's the exact song.
I'm not sure, though I am confident that the anime was developed second. Like, then again, like, I have no idea when that text was localized or when that specific interaction was added edition-wise. But
it's interesting.
I personally don't know. But, like, the games were out and finished and released when the anime started. Or this game, obviously.
Yeah.
But, like...
Because I know they had the Japanese versions of, like, Red and Green.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, did Red and Green do it first, then the anime copied it, and the anime was either out already or had started airing at the very least as the game's released.
Yeah. Or was it a matter of localizing? Because if it's like, okay, this is this Pokemon doing a dance and doing a song, and that dance and song sort of exist in the anime, might as well localize it accurately to the anime. Because you probably have to localize the sound anyway. I don't know.
Because I don't think Jigglypuff is Jigglypuff in Japanese.
No, definitely not. But, like,
Well, let's push our luck. Oh yeah, and this implies World War II and, like, the whole defeat of a lot of adults.
Yeah, the secrets of the past Pokemon War is a great question, and, like, I wouldn't position this as anything but, like, what I would want from a Pokemon game. But I would absolutely want, something that explores some of that.
Yeah, and maybe we'll get that with some of the spin-offs, like Arceus.
Yeah, like, to be fair, the spin-offs always have done a good job of being different parts of the world. Like, okay, what's life like for people that aren't gym challengers? Well, you know, Coliseum, or Rangers, or, yelling at your Pikachu in Slice of Life.
Pikachu's barely paralyzed at all. Back when it was still a dirt basic move and do 80 damage.
It is almost 7 a.m. and I have not gotten to sleep yet, so I may be leaving pretty soon.
No, that's perfectly fine. Thanks for even hanging out this much.
No, I love to hang out and hear about this stuff. It's a lot of fun. I was just sort of checking the time and realizing that, like, I actually probably should get to sleep before, like, noon.
Yeah, same, honestly.
Oh god, I got up at 8 a.m., so I'm going to have been awake for 24 hours. Good job with the sleep schedule. I have done a great job of having a sleep schedule.
Well, I mean, having one and adhering to it are different things.
Yes, I am in possession of this. I own it. I just don't maintenance it.
Yeah.
But I can stick around to see you lose to attendance surge or whatever.
Are you sure? I wouldn't want to push you.
No, I'm good. I was just sort of letting you know that I'm, like, this is gonna probably be the last scene I'm around for or whatever.
I think I'm feeling about the same, honestly.
Cool.
Like, we'll get through the
sorry,
gym
I
or
don't
not.
mean to like push you to end earlier
No,
than
no.
you want to or anything.
No, this is
Do you know the
probably
trick
longer
for
than I would
this?
anyway. I know that they're not next to each other.
Kind of.
Meh. And then they change bins.
Yes.
Meant to be one in each row, I think. What is the trick for this, if you happen to know it off the top of your head?
I am checking that I don't give you the wrong information, but... So, yeah, I was gonna say, so when you find the first switch, the second one is going to be adjacent. So the fastest way to do the puzzle, even if it involves slightly more resets, is to go to one of the corners. Check the corner, or... corners, like... Okay.
Yep.
You go to one of the corner bins, and then you check that bin repeatedly. And then you check, the bin across from it. Trying to figure out because it will always be in an adjacent bin once you find the first one. Yeah. Face each, you sort of, to paraphrase an actual walkthrough's explanation that's probably a lot clearer than mine, just while you're doing this, because, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about you getting through this fight. You approach the trash can on the left side of the room. Select that one. If the slush is inside, press it. If not, you face... you face the other way and you select,
So it's like, go to the left corner, try that, if not, the one behind you.
yeah, essentially. Because basically what you're trying to do is to have to move less. So you're just, like, you're just checking the ones that are next to you, but by being in the corner, there's less places it can possibly be. Yeah.
So just keep doing it?
Well, so yeah, you don't even have to go any further. You just can swap between those two in theory.
That one's a great advice.
Okay. Why are different walkthroughs giving me entirely contradictory information? Is this an addition thing?
Could be.
Yeah.
Well, then... Oh, it might count diagonal. That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I know that... So the thing that is consistent is that, yeah, once you find a switch, the next switch is gonna be adjacent. Which makes the corner bins the ideal bins to find it in. Because then you've got significantly better odds of finding it.
Yeah. Okay. So I have checked every bin. I guess it only changes after you find the first one.
Yeah, so... I'm... Just because, like, this is the worst puzzle in any Pokemon game, I am gonna send you something in the chat that is a useful visual aid, if you would like it, to where you can find them. And I think that this is accurate to the edition we're actually playing. I think that they changed it slightly for...
So it's like,
for
I checked all
edition.
of these bins, and then got to that one.
Yeah.
Why did I find a switch after I found... Anyway. Good.
Hello, Trashman, and your terrible gym.
During the war. Which war against who? Inquiring minds want to
you
know.
didn't murder anyone during the war? That seems a little bit unwarlike of you.
Let me put it this way, Lieutenant Surge. How many Nazis did you kill? It better be at least one.
Yeah, I mean... The fact that there was a significant war does not mean that it was necessarily World War II. It just sounds like it probably was.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, in fairness, if you were fighting a war that was not World War II, your Nazi total is probably... Like, it is harder to have a high Nazi body count when you weren't fighting Nazis.
But not impossible, sadly.
Not impossible.
Oh,
I
that
mean...
lovely sound of Screech.
Yeah, setting aside very American Cold War rants about the legacy of the Nazi Party. Like, yeah, it's not impossible, but, like, you know. There have been other wars.
Also,
World
unfortunately.
history.
At least in this generation.
I just find it really funny that, like, he's an American and a soldier, but no, I totally used my Pokemon to paralyze all of my enemies. I zapped them into paralysis. That was the war. There was no death and no guns. Why are you looking at me like that? I totally didn't actually do any fighting in a war. Kids game logic.
It also just reminded me, it's like World War II had at least a couple of different fronts.
Yeah, like...
One of which being...
That is the other thing, is that given where this game was made, it is less likely that specifically Nazis were being fought, even for the American character.
Yeah. The implications. Also, Ash's dad.
Awkward colonialism after World War II, yay! That was definitely a thing. That my people did, not yours, mostly-ish.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
No, I don't think there were specifically Australian forces occupying Japan post-World War II. There were... I don't know, you probably know better. This is probably a thing that you actually had to study in school, huh?
Maybe. I forgot a lot, and they weren't really the best teachers.
Yeah, like, I was trying to think, like, I know that while they weren't, like, America specifically was politically in charge, there were British troops stationed in Japan after World War II. I don't know to what extent British troops was code for troops from all of the places that are kind of, you know,
Allied.
put the British Queen on their money, and how much it was like specifically British troops. I just, you know,
War is hell.
War is hell. Political technicality is the lowest circle of hell.
I thought that was like pride or something.
Dante can go suck his own dick.
And on that note, I think that...
Fuck. Oh, stupid oops. Is swearing allowed on your stream?
Yeah, I didn't give a shit.
Okay. I love that I realized that I swore, and then swore like 4 more times trying to cover it. To confirm if I was allowed to swear. Anyway, good thing to end on. Good job. I totally didn't fuck that up. Alright.
Alrighty. So, I'm gonna hit the close screen. You go have a sleep. I probably am going to sleep as well, because it is also late.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it feels like it would be late for you at 7 in the morning for me, but yeah. Alright, night.
Alright, bye.
Where's the leaf?
And so we come to the end of another day on Sunshine Television. Hope today has been a good one for you, and we hope tomorrow is an even better one. And now this is Ray Marsh on behalf of all of us here at the Granville studios of SEQ Television on channels 8, 1, 5 and 10, wishing you all a very good night.